Joining me now are the parents of Trayvon Martin, Tracy Martin, and Sabrina Fulton, along with their attorney, Benjamin Crump. Thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to take us back to the first thing we ever heard from the other parents in this case. The father of George Zimmerman, he wrote a letter to the local paper down there, and it was very short, and it had some emotion in it, and in it he said, "Out of respect for the ongoing investigation, I will not discuss specifics." And then he went on to just say one specific thing about the evidence. At no time did George follow or confront Mr. Martin. Tracy Martin, as the other father in this case, when you read that, and then you hear a 911 tape of George Zimmerman huffing and puffing, as he is obviously chasing your son, what would you like to say back to Mr. Zimmerman about this first assertion of his that his son didn't even chase your son?
I would ask him, did he actually listen to the audio? And was he listening to the same tape that we were listening to? And
I want us all to listen to a piece of a tape of an interview that Mr. Zimmerman then did. By the way, at the end of that letter that he released weeks ago, he said, the Zimmerman family will have no further contact with the media prior to the resolution of the investigation. The family's obviously changed their mind about that, going out there, doing a lot of media. I want to listen to something he said in his television interview that was recorded there in Florida, when he was asked, do you think that being a judge, that Mr. Zimmerman was a judge himself, do you think that that in any way affected the way the police handled this case last night, that night? Now let's all listen to his answer to that.
No one knew that I was a retired magistrate judge. I didn't mention it to the police. I didn't mention it to the state attorney's office.
Sabrina Fulton, I'm struck in that by him saying, I didn't mention it to the police. I didn't mention it to the state attorney's office. That, to me, is an answer to the question of, did he talk to the police and did he talk to the state attorney's office? It seems to me within that answer is the obvious implication that this former judge was there at that time and that night and having conversations with the police and the state attorney's office. Is that what you think you just heard him say?
Well, it implies that he did speak to them, and it implies that he may have talked about certain things, but he mentioned that that was one of the things that he did not mention, his position. But I'm pretty sure they knew who he was because they knew the son.
And Sabrina, as the mother of the victim that night, would you have liked to have gotten a chance to talk to the police and the prosecutor that night?
I would love to have talked, been given the opportunity to talk to the police department, just to find out what was going on, exactly what happened. And it probably would have eased my mind a great deal, but by us not having a lot of the answers, it bothered us.
We have an interview, an NBC News interview with Mr. Zimmerman's lawyer just taped yesterday. I want to listen to some excerpts from that interview that I have cut out specifically because I'm struck by his phrasing. He repeatedly refers to this case will be litigated in court. It sounds like he expects to go to court on this. Let's listen to the way he said that.
I think that all the evidence will come out when it goes to court, and it'll be litigated at that time. This will be litigated one time, and it'll be in court, and it'll be by the rules of criminal procedure. It'll be under the laws of the state of Florida, and when I'll answer those questions when they come to that, when we get to that point. When it comes time to litigate this case, I'll litigate it. Again, this case will be litigated in court, and when it comes to that point, I'll argue those issues appropriately. When it comes time to litigate this case, we'll be in a court of law.
Benjamin Crump, I've heard plenty of lawyers in that situation, and they always say, if it comes to court, if it comes to court. It seems that Mr. Zimmerman's lawyer has absolutely resigned himself to the idea that this is going to end up in a courtroom.
Mr. O'Donnell, I think it's one of those situations, thanks to really the media and shows like you, the evidence has been coming out slowly but surely. We didn't get any answers from the police department or the state attorney's office. We've gotten information from watching your program and people who said, we just want the truth to come out. And it's one of those situations, after you look at the videotape, after you hear the 911 tapes, after you look at the phone logs from Trayvon's phone records, after you have the witnesses coming forward, it's just one piece of evidence after another to show at least that this is a matter that should be decided in a courtroom, not by a police department or a state attorney saying, you know, he said self-defense, so we're just going to let him go home free while Trayvon goes to the medical examiner. And that's been the tough thing to deal with for his mother and father.
Sabrina Fulton, a mother knows her child's voice, and you've said from the start that that was Trayvon on that 911 tape that we hear crying, screaming for help during this incident. We just presented two audio experts who insist to their 99% certainty, legal certainty, that that voice is not Robert Zimmerman. There's only one other voice that it can be on the scene. How does it feel for you tonight to be vindicated on this point as far as the evidence has so far developed based on what we know so far, that everything indicates that you're absolutely right, that the cries for help you were hearing were from your son?
It just means that what I've said earlier is being supported by experts. And it's just good to know that other people are accepting what I said, and they're just not, you know, taking anything that they hear. I did say that was my son, and I truly believe that is my son. So I'm agreeing with the experts that that is my son.
Benjamin Crump, thanks for joining us tonight, and Tracy Martin and Sabrina Fulton, thank you very much for coming in tonight, and I am in awe of the grace and dignity with which you've been conducting yourself.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you very much.